Hey guys, it's Marijka, Milton Public Library, back with you today and bringing some books. This week is our week one of historical fiction. So let's go. The first book that I am bringing you today is called Jeffersons Sons, A Founding Father's Secret Children, and this book is by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. So this is a fictional interpretation of the lives of three of Sally Hemings' boys. Sally Hemings was a slave to the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, and Thomas Jefferson also fathered all of her children. So all of the children out of this forced relationship are granted freedom, but not until they turn 21. So until that time, they are all required to live as slaves. So on Jefferson's plantation. So although they have somewhat better life than the other slaves do, they're granted certain privileges that the other slaves are not. They are not allowed to talk about their parentage, and they are required to call Jefferson Master Jefferson, and they're still slaves. So no matter how much better your life may be than another one, a slave is a slave, and it's not a nice thing to be. It's just not. It never was, and it never will be. So this story takes a look at how these children grow up. So two of them, when they turn 21, are going to go, and they know for sure are going to acclimate into the white world because they very much take after their father. One is said to be like the spitting image of his father, so much so that when company comes, he pretty much has to hide. That's how much he looks so much like him, so as to not tarnish the name of Jefferson and have people think that he has had relations with Sally Hemings. The other one very much represents or resembles his mother. So he has very dark skin and is not going to be able to acclimate into society like his brothers. But they all, once they turn 21, have to like relinquish ties with their family. So this story also asks the question, can a person be great and still participate in evil? Which is a really good question. Yeah, so again, this is a fictional story about these people who were real in history. But although it's fictional, it was very well researched, and it's just an idea of how it may have been. So that's Jefferson's Sons, Founding Father's Secret Children by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. The next book that I'm bringing you is called The Last Grand Adventure, and this is by Rebecca Behrens. Anyway, so this book is an exploration of family and sort of like sisterhood, living your life to the fullest, and bravery. This book follows an adventure with Bee and her grandmother Pidge. Now, Pidge is the real life sister to Amelia Earhart, and Pidge is in this retirement place, and Bee goes to visit her for the summer because her mom is a reporter and she's not home a lot, and her dad recently remarried, and she now has this younger stepsister that she actually refers to as like a barnacle. That's how much she's not enjoying her. So Bee goes to stay with Pidge for the summer, and when she gets there, Pidge says she wants to go on this adventure back to her hometown. because she has been receiving these letters all of these years from her sister Amelia Earhart, who is missing, and they're now going to meet at their childhood home. So the two of them go on this crazy adventure all across the country. And the nice thing about this book is it takes place in two different times. So it's a great exploration of the United States at these two different times in two different generations. It's just a really wonderful read. So that's The Last Grand Adventure by Rebecca Behrens. The next book that I have for you is called The Island at the End of Everything. This book is by Kiran Millwood Hargrave. So Emmy was born on a leopard colony. Now, a leopard colony was this place, usually like an island or an offset place where nobody else went, where the people who had leprosy would be sent to live their lives. Now, leprosy was this very infectious skin infection that gave you all of these lesions all over your body that made you look like leopards. So before there was a definitive cure for this, they just sent them away, and that's where they lived because you couldn't be in contact with them in fear that you would also get leprosy. But Amy was born on this island, and her mother is infected, but she is not infected at all. She's what they call clean. So this new government official comes in and decides that he's going to separate the clean from the unclean and send the clean away, which means that Amy is going to be taken away from her mom in the only place that she's ever known. So she's sent across the sea to this orphanage, and in this orphanage she meets this girl, and they decide together that they're going to get her back home to this island. So yeah, it's just a fun read and a neat thing talking about leprosy, which is something we don't deal with anymore, and probably most of us don't even know what it is or haven't really ever even heard of it. So this is The Island at the End of Everything, and it's by Kiran Millwood Hargrave. So close. Last book that I'm bringing you today is called A Length of String. This is by Elissa, Brent, Weissman. So this story follows Anami, and she is a Black girl who was adopted into a Jewish family. She's coming up to her bar mitzvah. I can't think of what it's called. Bath mitzvah. I'm pretty sure it's a bath mitzvah for girls, and I should have known that, and I'm sorry that I don't. Anyway, she's coming up to her bath mitzvah, and she is having this sort of like crisis where she doesn't really know who she is. She doesn't know how she fits into the Jewish community, and she really wants to know her roots. And for her gift, she would really like to know who, where she comes from, her heritage. But she discovers this diary from her Jewish great-grandmother, telling the story of a 12-year-old girl that escaped Europe in 1941, which was a very dangerous time for Jewish people. So at the same time that Amani wants to know who she is and where she fits in, this book addresses her feelings about what it means to be Jewish and about Judaism and all of her questions, and where she belongs, as well as how she's treated by some of the people in the Jewish community because she is Black. So through this book, Amani finds roots and connections that she wasn't necessarily expecting to find. So that is The Length of String by Elissa, Brent, Weissman. Those are my recommendations for this week 1 of historical fiction. I hope that you enjoyed those. I would like to discuss some of the things that we have going on here at the library. I do still have my Tween Steam takeouts. Those are the first and the third Wednesday. You can give us a call to reserve one or stop in and just see if one is available. You just pick it up and it's some sort of steam kit that you can take home. We also have a For the Love of Birds program that's coming up in the second week of February, which is a winter DIY like little bird feeder thing, which is super simple but is fun because you'll be able to watch the birds eat their treat. Jamie has a cryptic crafts, and coming up all of February, every week, there will be a different thing in the Spark. The Spark is open for the most part. And yeah, we just give us a call, come on in, and we have tons of stuff going on.